what the change of heart was all about.
I don't know. He said that he thought maybe we're trying to sell him something. That's why he kept throwing stuff away.
We're live.
That's what he told me. So the bottom line is we got it done.
Okay. All right. Well, that is the bottom line, and that's great. Good on your part. Well done.
Tom, we are live.
We are live. Great.
We
Thank
may be a
you.
little early, just to let you know.
Well, we don't have a quorum yet, so that's a problem.
Right, I heard from Cindy, she's supposed to be here
Yeah.
in person.
And I
so that
think
makes a quorum.
Cindy, just two makes a quorum? I thought it
No,
was three.
Chris two.
Chris too. Oh, okay, yeah,
He said
two. Okay.
he'll be here too.
Great. Okay, fabulous.
Jordan maybe or not coming?
Jordan, I don't know, Jordan had a concussion, so she won't be,
What?
Last week. I
won't
thought
be-
I know she's feeling better because she was working at home today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what she
What
said, if
happened?
she doesn't make it, she doesn't make, no, I don't know.
What happened?
I don't know.
What happened? What happened?
We're live, Tom. so-
Jeez. Okay, all right, yeah. I mean, there's nobody there but his family, but
It's YouTube.
but
so
she's
we're live.
okay. We've seen her since then.
Well, I've just exchanged emails with her, but yeah, and
Amazing.
yeah, she was going to be back at work today. I mean, at home, but back at work.
Wow. I mean, because I've had, as you recall, back in January of 20, I had a concussion, slipped on some ice.
Yeah.
And it was a terrible experience. Just terrible.
Mhm.
Just awful. So, wow. Okay. Well, I'll send her a note, telling her we wish her very best.
So she's excused.
All right. So that means two makes, or do we still need three?
Three, we need Cindy. She said she'll be here.
All right. And Chris.
So this is after me telling her that, you don't need to tell me why you're out. I do not need to know, you can.
HR needs to know.
If you're going to be out if you're going to be out for more than a couple of days, the HR needs to know. But if you're only out, because you can volunteer the information, and now it's, now we're live streaming. So.
Yeah. Okay.
She did send me an email, so those are public.
Wow.
Technically, all of our
Okay.
emails are public information, so.
Yeah. Well, she's okay.
I'm
That's
glad
the,
she's feeling
that's the most
better.
important part. Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's great.
She was doing better already by Friday. I think she was out 2 days, 2.5 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to rest. That's all pretty
Mhm.
much you need to do is just rest.
Yeah, that is so true. And you need to be pretty disciplined about it, which I was not.
Yeah, I spent a month in the hospital when I was a kid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy.
I was not disciplined and it cost me. It extended I went to one meeting with DOT the day after it happened. And I was just in this gray. The DOT guys told me later, they were like, you did not look good. Your face was like the color of that chalkboard kind of thing. So it was a little unfortunate. I should not have done that. Oh, I hear voices. I mean, not the voices in my head, but.
Now, in addition to the usual voices.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, there she is. Hey, we have a quorum. Hi, Chris. How are you? Hi, Cindy. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good, very good. Thank you. I'm doing great with my friends and teammates from EES.
Oh, hi.
Better if we were, would you feel better if we were wearing masks?
No, I've just had a little bit of a cold, so I don't want to share that with anyone. So
He did a swerve into the parking lot even worse than I
I
did.
I was on two wheels.
And all of a sudden I look around and there's Chris.
All right. Well, I will tap the gavel and get this started. Here are the agendas and the minutes from last meeting. There you go. Thank you. And while we get those around, I'll make a couple announcements before we take a look at the March meeting. First announcement is a shocker. Maybe Cindy, you knew this already, but Alvina is going to be departing
What?
the town of Bow staff.
Oh, no.
This is her last meeting, so that was not a lot of warning. So in terms of giving her a gift or something like
It just
that.
happened. It pretty much just happened.
Where are you going to?
The state.
The
Not
state
DDS.
drinking DS?
We should be so lucky.
Yes, planning.
Yeah, yeah.
Really?
But so
Wow,
very unfortunate news for us.
congratulations.
Second is, of course, I have in honor of it being Easter's coming. quickly, I have the snacks for today, which is Ferrero Rochers, which we have to get out of the house
This
in
is
order to
the
make
best-
room for other chocolate products that will arrive.
This is
So,
the best,
certainly
the
say
best
hi.
thing of Tom being the chair. We have it.
Yeah, pass those around over to Alvina.
Sorry.
Uh-oh.
That's
And I
okay.
think it really is
Steve,
Denise
again,
probably, right?
sorry, no chocolate for you, but we will get some chocolates to you at some point.
It's probably
down the way,
Denise more
so.
than Tom.
Oh, yeah.
I'll bring home one for my son.
There you go, perfect. Take two for him, please.
Yeah, I don't need them anyways. Thanks anyway.
Yeah, we'll take care of you, Steve, don't worry. Next announcement is, I have been asked by the four associations to re-serve as the chair of the four associations. So let me give you a little background on that. So during the COVID disaster, the New Hampshire Waterworks Association, the New Hampshire Water Pollution Control Association, Granite State Rural Water, and the New Hampshire Municipal Association came together with DES, and we formed what we call a ad hoc, an informal group we called the Four Clean Water Association. And we worked together on a variety of issues because it was just easier for me to talk to all the four of them together instead of have the four of them call me all the time on different things they want me to work on. It was just easier for me to work together. Well, while I've been sick, that all got set aside. Brandon and Tracy have not been able to chair that organization. Boyd Smith says he's not able to do it. They asked if I would do it on a volunteer basis. I'm happy to do it. So I've been meeting today. I met with the Municipal Association folks. I'm meeting with Water Pollution Control later in the week, and I met with Waterworks Association earlier late last month. So I'll be doing that. That does not interfere with these duties, and there's no conflict of interest of any kind. In fact, I think there's actually a synergy between the two, because I immediately started talking to them about arsenic and Wells and Bow and all the other issues we're interested in, salt and chlorides, and all the kinds of cool stuff that we're working on. So want to make sure everybody got that announcement out also. Okay. I also would like to change the order of the meeting and let Amy and Paul do their part first. And then we can go through our different things that we're working on. You're welcome to stay as we go through the different things we're working on. Or if you want to take off, you're welcome to take off too. So is that okay with everybody for a change in the order? Okay, Steve, does that work for you?
Sure, no problem.
Okay, great. So anybody, and just first of all, we'll approve the meetings minutes from last time. Any problem with those?
Motion to approve.
Okay, and seconded, and there we go. Thank you, Alvina. All right,
There.
with that, Paul, would you like to introduce Amy, what she does now, or do you want Amy to just?
I'd be happy
herself?
to. So let's see, who doesn't, Steve? I'm Paul Suska. I work in the drinking water program. Where's the camera? Drinking water program at DES. And Amy is our new private well coordinator. So as a program, we've been sort of a bunch of us in our spare time, including Cindy and I, have been doing various private well initiatives over the last 20 plus years. But now we finally have a full-time person. That's Amy Hudner here, who's going to be doing our private well work. And if she has any spare time, risk communication work. So any questions? All right. Thanks, Paul.
So I was going to go over some of the projects we're working on, if that makes sense.
That does.
If you want to jump.
You really, I mean, the three of you, right, know what we're up to pretty much, right?
Well, I lost some time in there.
I guess so, because for whose benefit, I guess, for
And
yours and also
Steven's.
okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Let me know if you can't hear Steve or,
You're Lima Charlie,
I'm sorry.
loud and clear.
Clear.
Oh, okay, great.
That's some
Okay.
Army talk
The
there.
mic's right there in the middle.
Mike's there. Okay, perfect. Okay, yeah, so I thought I'd go over some of the projects we're working on. Most everyone knows quite a bit about them, but I'll start with what's officially called the New Hampshire Water Wellness Initiative, also known as the Pitcher Filter Program, sometimes called the WIC Project. But what that is, and Tom, I believe you were part of the founding, if I'm not.
Who's the author of it? Yeah.
I was just the one that said we're gonna do what.
So we had a 1 year, there was a 1 year pilot in which the WIC, Women, Infants and Children staff were talking to their pregnant clients about this program, which gives them free water testing for those that are on private wells. And then if they have exceedances of It's been expanded, it was just about arsenic, now it includes arsenic, lead, manganese, copper, and uranium. And if they have an exceedance of any of those, then they are given a free zero water pitcher filter in order to treat their water. So there was a 1-year trial, kind of pilot in southern New Hampshire, and now it's being rolled out, or it has been rolled out to the whole state for the WIC participants that are pregnant. So that statewide launch just happened on April 1st, and we're anxious to see, you know, as it rolls out, how many participants we get and how much support we can give them and pictures we can give out. And I brought a fact sheet that we just came up with to expand it to go. Did you pass that? To go over all five metals, because we're now trying to kind of inform folks about 5 different contaminants as opposed to where it started with arsenic. And then it's got Spanish on the back, so.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
And I did not have to translate this. This is.
Yeah, we have a consultant, 120 Water, that they have some staff apparently that can translate, so.
Oh, so we stayed with 120 Water then.
Yep, they're staying with us for the whole project, right? So you were around when we had the pilot.
Yep.
Which was just Southern New Hampshire Services, which was, I think, Rockingham and Hillsborough, right? And then, but we just, this month, they're going to be rolling it out statewide.
That is great. Congratulations to you for
Oh,
doing
that's
that. That's phenomenal.
And expanding it to the other parameters is really great too.
Yeah, the other metals, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so that's going well. And then another thing we've worked on is targeted testing, free water testing based on.
Ask questions about each program individually.
Sure. No, however you
Because I
want.
mean, I only got 70 or 80 questions maybe for
Okay.
for the water wellness initiative.
Whatever you.
So are the results of the pilot program in terms of numbers that were sent out, numbers that were tested, results that came in, and numbers that, you know, of pregnant women that were protected, that kind of stuff, is that available on the website somewhere, or
Not on
how
the
do we
web,
get those?
not on the website, right?
No, not on a
Just- you could-
website.
We could provide it. I mean, we get,
Okay, well, just what are the highlights? I mean,
well, the numbers have not been very big. I mean, during the pilot. And then we made some changes as we went to rolling it out. You know, it's as much as this population that we're serving, that is the low income women, as much as they really, you know, need this help, they don't have a lot of bandwidth, you know, to deal with one more
right.
issue like this. And so and also we were working in a part of the state that, as it turns out, had a relatively low, well, I'm sorry, so not so much the part of the state, but one thing we didn't think about too much when we were designing the project was that this population, it probably, you know, rents more often than the average population, the rest of the population,
Mhm, mhm.
and more often lives in urban areas. And so we've got a pretty small private well percentage
Mm.
among this population as it's turning out. I mean, and that'll probably be different as we expand it statewide.
Right, that will vary as you get further north.
Right.
Right, that makes sense.
Yeah, but also I think just the follow-up, right? I mean, we've decided to make some changes in the follow-up. That is how the 120 Water, our contractor, is following up with the folks who are receiving their, at least they've gotten their test kit.
Okay,
But you still need them to get the test kit back.
okay, so they're going to follow up by phone or email or text or carrier pigeon, or what's the?
You know this.
Yeah, actually, Taylor Smith is managing the project. She uses a variety of methods, because
Whatever it
she'll sort of
takes.
start with email, I think, and then if she doesn't get a response, she'll move to phone call and then
Perseverance by her. That's
text and.
fabulous. Good for her.
Yeah.
How,
And another thing we developed was with Chris's help, a web map where the WIC staff can look up when someone comes in, they're going to start coming in person now, the clients. They can look up the address. So if she's a renter and she's not sure, which all the years that I was a renter, I had no clue where my water was coming from. So they can look up the address and then it'll bring them to the land parcel, and it'll be like pink if it's public water and not if it's private. So you can easily look up whether it's public versus
So
private.
we're crossing that to our municipal water database. So we
Like the service areas,
the
right?
service areas.
Which is not 100%, but
Did you set that up, Chris, that lookup?
Derek and I, yeah.
Nicely done.
So I figured it would be easier, if someone's just not sure, or if they're like staying with somebody and they're on the spot, they're like, where's your water come from? They don't know.
Right,
It's
this
an easy
helps.
way to look it up. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant.
That's why they haven't been contacting me anymore, because I was the person that was supposed to be looking up things.
Oh, yeah, no, Taylor,
So
goes-
good.
I'm glad I haven't heard from
Nicely done,
Taylor.
Chris.
She goes to me now because I knew you were so busy.
Thank you.
That's good.
That's great. Okay, then in terms of funding, so the pilot was funded with a certain amount, I think was $500,000 or
it
something,
was
money like
about
that,
300,
350K or something.
330, I think.
Yeah, and that was from the trust fund, as I recall.
Right, and that was for the whole 5-year project.
Okay,
So we haven't had to go back for them for additional funding.
we have not. Great. Okay,
So how much have we spent so far? Probably.
Not much because, well, I don't know, did you hear back from Taylor about, we're getting invoiced less than we thought, less than we expected.
by 120 water, really?
Yeah, I mean, part of it, well, there's 3 components to it. One is the actual cost of the testing.
Right,
So actually, we're spending more. When this project was conceived, it was pre-COVID. And then as soon as we started rolling it out, it was COVID. And so and the idea was the participants would get their test kit when they were having their regular monthly meeting
At
with
WIC,
the
right.
nutritionist, but those meetings haven't been happening. So we had to actually add a little bit of money in so that the test kit could be shipped to the participant.
okay. And so this Bo was not in the pilot one,
Right.
but it will be part of the rollout here in April.
Yes.
Okay, great. That is really impressive work.
How many WIC moms do we have? We don't know, but
We don't know. And how many?
we
of
do
those are
have a
pregnant?
welfare, yeah,
Right.
we do have a welfare office.
Right, okay,
One thing we're going to try to do too is do a lot of follow-up with the WIC staff, just to keep it on their radar, because I know that when they have that, we heard from the Southern New Hampshire staff that they've just got so much ground to cover when they do meet the participants that, it's, I don't know, I just think we got to keep it on their radar because they have such a long list of questions they ask and topics they cover. And so just we got to be kind of a squeaky wheel reminding them,
Sure,
like,
yeah.
don't forget this program.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, well, great, Amy, thanks for that. Moving on to the next project.
So,
Well, I have one.
oh, go ahead,
Did
sorry.
you mention manganese is in the list of parameters? Okay,
Yes,
yeah.
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, right, because, originally the whole budget was based on arsenic. And I think after we started the pilot, one of the things we started getting some results on the other contaminants. Lou Bernelli was sharing those, results with us, and we said, well, gee, there's, given the fact that we've got fewer participants, we could actually expand the list of, contaminants for which that would sort of qualify you to get a filter pitcher.
Right.
And we could still stay within the budget. So we expanded those parameters, and so we're still.
Does lead, just for my education, as I remind Cindy all the time, everything I know about residential water health systems, everything else, I learned from her and from all of you. Does lead, copper, manganese, and what was the other one, uranium, do they have the same in vitro substantial effects that arsenic has?
I don't know. I mean, manganese certainly has neuro developmental effects. Lower
In vitro
low levels.
or
I don't know if it's in utero or if it's just early in
in utero? Yeah, thank you.
in infanthood, first year of life,
Okay,
babies, right? And then of course lead, same thing as far as neurocognitive.
right. Oh, it's for
Developmental
sure. Yeah,
effects.
yeah.
And lead is passed on through the placenta to
It's
the
passed
baby.
through the, that's the question.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go through the-
All right, good.
We
Excellent.
have a few other big projects we want to.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sure we have time for. Maybe we can circle back.
All right, it's only a 3-hour meeting, so don't,
Yeah.
we try to hold it to an hour, so take your time.
Okay, so this part started long before I arrived, but there's been some targeted free well testing in the towns of Auburn, Pelham, and Bethlehem. And the Auburn and Pelham were based on some information that we got from somebody who had a really high uranium results, and going out to their neighbors and saying, hey, like, we're going to test your water for free. And then in Bethlehem, the US Geological Survey indicated that it could be a high uranium based on geology. So we advertised free well testing to every Bethlehem private well owner. So what the model of those 3 events was that they were offered free well testing, and it was all height of COVID. So they were mailed test kits, and they had to fill their own and then mail them back to Absolute Resource Associates lab. And then once they got their results, then soon after we had a virtual workshop where we went over, and Cindy and Paul were both presenters. And I then participated in Pelham and Bethlehem as a presenter. So we gave, some basic information on these different contaminants and treatment. Everybody's got a lot of questions about treatment, of course, once they've gotten their results. So I brought
What was the third town? So it was Pelham, Bethlehem, and
Auburn. Yeah.
It actually started in Auburn with the one high uranium result, and then we just drew a half-mile radius. And then after that project, and I don't remember the numbers, in terms of the exceedances, but they were very, very high percentages of wells with exceedances.
In Auburn?
For uranium. Yeah, in that.
Uranium in Auburn?
Yeah.
Because I thought, okay, and that's, my recollection was that was kind of a one-off thing in Auburn, that they weren't that high. Because the one that I remembered in Auburn was like 5,600.
Okay, I'm
That's
thinking
really-
Pelham maybe, because Pelham,
But I
had higher
don't
numbers.
recall
Right, yeah.
around them, how much did they have? It just does, I don't have that. So
I thought you were just going alphabetically, Auburn, Bethlehem, and Bow.
Right, no.
Do that.
So-
as far as the area where we targeted in Pelham was based on the arsenic probability mapping that USGS did, and also they've got uranium probability mapping, although they haven't released it yet. But we sort of found that an area where the two overlapped. And then as far as Bethlehem, the entire town is mapped as a uranium hotspot. So, and that's where we had the highest number of participants, just because it was huge.
Yeah, the whole
We cast a very
town.
wide net.
Yeah, and Bethlehem was the whole town that we invited.
So how many roughly in each town? Test kits went out.
I can tell you Bethlehem because that's where I became involved, so that I remember it. So, in Bethlehem, we sent postcards to a little over 600 households, and we had about 200 sign up. So, and about like 175 that actually returned the water sample, that sent the water sample. So almost 30, about a third. And I did bring DHHS public health tracking, prepared these reports. This is a kind of a simplified, simplified one page. I get a little later. Thank you. There's a longer report, but this is the simplified one. So for the audience, Steve, there was about 11% of Bethlehem private well owners in our sample had above uranium, the health limit for uranium, about 11%, which They didn't have much else besides uranium. There were lower numbers for manganese, lead, copper, arsenic. I was surprised they don't seem to have much arsenic at all in Bethlehem.
I'm sorry, remind me, Bethlehem is in Judea? No. Where is it physically?
It's up north by Littleton,
Oh, that's north of the mountains.
Dalton.
Mhm, yep,
Yeah,
I got it.
they're
Thank you.
embroiled in the landfill controversy and all that.
Oh,
So.
Yeah, the landfill, that's the claim to
Yeah.
fame.
Right next to Dalton with and Bethlehem has a landfill as well. So they've been in the middle of all that too. So. So yeah, that was
And fluoride, there's a bunch of, some fluoride in Bethlehem, but I don't recall, did that get identified?
we didn't include that in the,
That's part of the standard, but this wasn't the standard package.
No, we were just doing EPA method 200.8. So,
Oh,
you
so
know,
we
just
missed fluoride.
the metals that are on that list. Yeah. 5 metals.
So who funded this work?
this was trust fund, right?
This
Yeah.
was, right. It was trust fund money that was allocated for lab services contracts, mainly, because of the PFAS issue.
Oh,
But there was some money left that was available that we appropriately used for this purpose.
okay, within the larger,
Right, within the larger contract.
okay,
And it was, it's pretty small change compared to, the cost of testing for PFAS.
yeah, it's not, yeah, it's
I
dust,
mean, these were less than $100 each, I think,
right.
even with the shipping.
Who was the brainchild on this one? Who was, this started before you got there.
Yeah, before me.
Who was
I can't
the
claim.
idea engine on this one?
Brandon.
Brandon?
Yep.
Nice. All right, well, that's a wonderful program. Obviously, because Bow is in a high arsenic region. If the program is expanded to other towns, we would like to participate. And we'll provide staff work. That would be Tom. I'm happy to help address postcards or whatever it takes to help it go on a volunteer basis.
And
Yeah, I mean-
uranium,
And
We are
uranium
both
high, yeah,
arsenic,
thank you, Cindy,
uranium
right,
radon.
exactly, so. As you think about the next phases of the program, and we do come next alphabetically, I think, after Beth.
Well, I mean, the idea was to come up with a way that we could do these targeted sampling projects in a very cost-effective way.
Right,
And I mean, obviously, it's cost-effective if you can ship the containers both ways and not do anything that has any holding time issues, right? So no bacteria, no nitrate, no nitrite.
right,
So it's the most cost-effective way. And of course, you're targeting it because of the metals that are on that, included in that method, then that's fine.
so we could do this, not this year, because I think it's too late, but next year, we have a well testing event that Cindy began here in Bow, which we're going to continue, where we hand out test kits on a Saturday. People pull up to the community center, we hand them out Saturday, they go home, they test it, they bring it on Sunday, and then we bring it to the lab.
Yeah.
And they write a check for the testing. So we could take free testing to go with that, and the overhead cost then is the committee. Cindy, I just clap and support her mostly, hands these out. If we could tell everybody, if you come and do this, there's free testing goes with it for at least that portion for the metals. That might be an interesting partnership.
but the cost isn't the barrier here in Bow. I think it's the time.
The convenience.
Yeah.
But the
So-
cost, if we told people there were free ones, we might get even more. Now we do have some.
Say 10%.
limits.
I'm just leery of offering free here in Bow when there's so many other towns
I
that could
understand.
benefit.
Yeah, that's a good
And,
point.
and actually, a lot of our funding, not trust fund in particular, but the EPA funding, the infrastructure law is telling us disadvantage first. We have to identify, this is 49%.
Bow does have its
100%.
disadvantaged portion of the community though, and that's the one that I'm constantly trying to reach to. Okay, anyway, I just throw that out.
Going through
No, I mean,
Therapist.
this was on my list of things I wanted to discuss.
Oh,
because-
good.
Because it is something that I've only been at this since October, but it's always going through my mind, like, how do we cover the whole state? How do we be fair? How do we reach everyone in a way that's achievable? And I have not answered that question.
20
So
years
it's just-
later, Amy will be saying.
That's tough. You set yourself a pretty high bar there.
So I mean, it's a question of like what we're just starting to discuss. How do you go by disadvantaged communities? I mean, how do we decide, assuming we can't test everybody's water for free? How do we decide?
I guess
And
the
what-
first thought I have is that, the model from the SRF programs on how they decide which towns get grants and which towns get loans and those kinds of things. That is a model to look at. They have some very sophisticated measurements of mean household income and other criteria that they use to then take 600 applications for projects and boil it down to the 100 or 200 or whatever they're going to fund that year.
Well, let's tell them about the Seacoast Private Well Initiative, because that's,
Is that coming up?
have you heard about that?
No, this sounds
I
promising.
love it.
All right, so the Seacoast Private Well Initiative is just getting off the ground, and that was initiated, and Paul can correct me if I'm wrong about any of this, because I kind of did come in, well, I'm coming in at the beginning since it's got funded, so, but not in the planning stages. So, but the Seacoast Commission developed a project, and it got proposed and funded by the trust funds. And it is to offer free well testing to the 12. I only printed one, guys, sorry. For the, that's right, you made the base of this.
Well, here's some.
So
I
the
can share.
12
Yeah.
Seacoast towns that are part of the Seacoast Commission, and the numbers, okay, so the numbers there are the number of the population served by private wells in each town. And the plan is to divide the region into six, and the circles are how we're brainstorming. We will probably going to divide them into 6. And each region is going to have a pre-testing workshop, educational workshop, and then we're going to hand out test bottles, and then they're going to take them home with them, and then each one will have a time and date to show up with their filled bottles, and then they'll be analyzed, they'll be sent their results, and this will be the full standard analysis plus radon. And then we will have a treatment fair at the end of it, where people can come and get information on treatment. And then we'll be giving free zero water pitchers to low income participants with exceedances. So this is going to be a big project. We've got a committee pulled together. We've had our first meeting, and I've started to contact labs to get quotes, and yeah, so we'll be doing the water testing, the workshop, at the end will be a big fair that people can show up and get more information about treatment. And so that's just getting kicked off, and we're hoping to start by June with the first
June of
work. Yeah, June.
22.
Yep.
Wow, good for you.
So that's great, because the lead in schools and childcare has just put out an RFP for laboratories. And the main analyte is lead, of course, but we put in the clause and any other parameters that we request a quote for. And the beauty of that, we did it through admin services, so that any other program and any other state agency, even municipalities, can access that RFP. I did copy you on one of these, I think. I can't remember which one, but today it was posted.
Is it an attachment?
No, it was a link, but it was posted today. I'll forward it to the two of you. So that, because once that is in place, it might facilitate some of these laboratory things, because the idea of that RFP is that we would identify 5 laboratories, or, maybe all the laboratories, but we would say, do this lead at $15 or lead at $12, whatever the quote is, for a reasonable price. And because we're going to give you all these samples.
Oh,
So
okay,
you
so
might
you're
be-
negotiating based on volume.
Yeah.
Okay.
But once we have that set up, then, you could reach out to say, okay, we know that you're offering this for lead. What could give us your quote for this? And then the contract is already set up.
Okay.
So that
When
might
is the
help.
time frame for the treatment fair? that you're looking at?
We've said fall. I mean, it's gonna be tough.
Yeah.
It was,
The
it
more-
was the beginning of October and then it was, and I thought it was October and now it's fall.
So the more that I dig in, the more I'm like, oh boy, this is a big
Now-
lift. This
New
project's gonna be.
Hampshire Waterworks Association and all their members might be interested in supporting, participating. I don't know how much you want to let industry in, but I mean, this is an industry opportunity. I mean, all these people are going to learn that their water is contaminated, and then you're going to tell them you can use point of use, you can haul house, you can go to this contractor, that contractor. The call contractors have tables set up in the room. New Hampshire Waterworks can help you pull that together.
Oh, to pull the event together?
You mean the Well Water Association? You mean? Or-
No, the
Waterworks.
Waterworks.
Yeah, the waterworks really, they represent the public water system, so I think
Right.
they would really not want to be
Yeah, okay,
involved
maybe
in the
right,
private
yeah.
wells. So this treatment fair is like the one they did for PFAS, that all the vendors come and sell, you know,
Yep.
and
right. I
tell
mean,
you, oh my God, you're gonna die, you have to have.
Well, I think the
treatment.
format's gonna be a little different, you know. I mean, we'll have a
Oh,
presentation.
we're gonna be there. Cold Drinking Water Company is gonna have a video
Mhm.
of do-it-yourself point of use.
Oh, there we
Good.
go.
Right.
So
Oh, that's
we
a
can
great
have our own
idea.
table.
We can have our own table with a big TV screen.
Have a
Computer monitor.
DIY with the.
Yeah, and the little kit in front of the TV screen and everything. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Did you get it?
I did. I read it through, and when we get to it, I loved it. I loved it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yes, the environmental health program at DES, we're gonna pull them in to help with, because they did at least Karen Craver she worked on the PFAS fair. So she's gonna help, and that group's gonna help pulling together that
Yeah.
concept. So
And I don't know if you mentioned that the testing is free for the Seacoast. So basically, we're offering free testing to 12 towns. Every private.
That's a
user.
lot of private
Well,
wells,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
A lot more than I expected. So Exeter seems to have.
And that's
1,600.
population, that's
Oh,
population.
this is population, not.
I probably should have put household on there, but
Oh, this is household. So some of these
this is
are on
population.
municipal water.
And yeah, like in especially Dover and Exeter and Portsmouth.
Make a note that.
Those numbers.
Population.
This is for us to keep.
Population.
Private wells.
Minutes.
Yeah, so you'd have to divide them by about 2.5 to get the households.
Wait, but that can't be right. You got 0 in Newcastle?
That's,
Yeah.
well, I mean,
Because-
those are all estimates, but yeah, we don't know of any, but if there are any, it's okay.
It's because, Newcastle's is served by Portsmouth.
Yeah,
Oh, I see. Okay.
And it is, all piping.
can't
and
drill a well in Portsmouth.
Lead service
Dig
lines.
salt.
Okay, so say it again. This number, so for Dover, 1,993 is what again? It's
Population served by private
So it's
wells.
population served.
it's an estimate of the population.
Definitely an estimate, yeah.
Divide by 2.5 for estimated
Number of wells.
wells.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah,
And so Tom, you know about the Seacoast Commission, right?
oh, yeah.
Right. So, and I don't know if you were around when this project was getting
No,
started, but
that's a new one.
basically, the way those meetings were, at each meeting, each month, they would focus on a different town in the
Oh, yeah.
12-town area.
Right, yeah.
And they'd get a briefing on both the public water systems and also, here's what we think, here's our best data on population served by private wells and the types of, the exceedance rates for various contaminants and so forth. And so Senator Tom Sherman, who was on that commission, he kept hearing over and over again, arsenic, arsenic, arsenic. And he said, we can't just keep studying this for, for another, 12 months. We need to do something. And so he asked us to develop a project that would do something about arsenic. And this is what we developed. But after, we were midway through the pilot for the filter pitcher project, the WIC project.
He's been a big supporter of that.
Yeah, but we said, well, it doesn't make sense to just do this for arsenic. We should do it for the other contaminants.
Right, absolutely right.
For which the filter pitcher is,
Certified.
effective. Yeah,
Yeah.
the one that we're using.
Wow, what a great project. Amy, you got some great projects going. Good for you.
well, yes, mostly Paul's.
Yeah. I'll look at you to carry the football the rest of the way.
I get the project and I go, oh, okay. well,
It's all Tom Brady until the ball leaves his hand. After that, it's all the receiver.
Right, yeah. Yeah, so what we're doing there is we're pulling in some local coordinators to make it, more manageable. So we've got, we've got a coordinator for the group that's going to be just Madbury and then Stratham. And then that group of like a bunch of them that includes Portsmouth. We've got coordinators for those three. And then tomorrow I'm going to have a virtual meeting with the 5 towns where we don't have a coordinator yet. And I'm going to pitch to them that they should help out. So the local person would help with saying, okay, here's where we can have our workshop and hand out the test bottles and hopefully be the one who's there to pick them up. And we'll probably have the lab come and get the samples, because with bacteria, they have to have it coolers, and it's just going to be a lot of samples for like an individual with, a Prius or something, like trying to bring all these coolers. And so we're trying to get the lab to show up at the 6 events with the coolers and be able to take the samples to the lab. But yeah, so we're just trying to get a lot of local support for each of those 6 regions so that we can cover.
Have you talked to our DES team there? I'm trying, Ben Sweeney and some of these other folks that work with these towns on a regular basis. If you're having problems finding a local coordinator, they know a lot of people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they know a lot of people.
Who's been Sweeney? Haven't.
Yeah,
Is it coastal program? or-
Yeah, it's the coastal program is part of our team out in Portsmouth. We have an office.
Oh, yeah, I know. a
Yeah,
lot of
the
folks.
Wetlands is out there. And
Yeah.
Works with Steve Kuchar and
Right,
he's doing
Steve
the
Kuchar, yeah, another great
ARPA flood grant or.
Right. So they don't work
Infrastructure.
wells and drinking water specifically. They work groundwater contamination due to sea level rise and saline water infiltration. So they may be running into people who work well type issues on a semi-regular basis.
Yeah.
So if you have a problem, you can
Right,
give
yeah.
Steve Kuchar a call, tell him I told you to call him, tell him, help you with anything you need. Otherwise I'll talk to him. How's that?
Yeah, that's a great idea, but also Jen Mates lives in Greenfield.
Okay.
And so you can, and is working out of the P's office.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Drew Koff lives in Exeter and they do a lot, he's on the
Right.
Conservation Commission.
So we have some pretty deep, DES has some pretty deep roots in these
Yeah,
communities. so.
Stacy is right across from in Maine. Maybe she could
Mhm.
wants to do some.
And the coastal program has some, they've got a long wish list of things that they want to do with our ARPA money. Source water protection projects
Mm,
that, are in the coast
okay.
region.
Okay, great, Amy. What else? What else you working on?
Well,
Yeah.
I think you might be at the end of your, well, I don't.
I mean,
course,
I'll
Amy
talk
was-
as long as you guys
Yeah, I
want me
mean,
to. I don't.
Amy came on board to sort of develop a private well strategy. And she's been so busy doing private well tactics. She hasn't really had much time to focus, but, you were bringing up questions about, what can towns like Bow do, or what, are there anything, is there anything new that we can do in Bow that hasn't already been tried or whatever?
Right.
Those are, we've got a long list of ideas.
One of the things we'd like to do is reach out to Dunbarton and Goffstown.
Mhm.
So maybe we could find some partners in our neighboring towns.
In Goffstown. Friends of the Goffstown Rail Trail would love to.
Yeah.
And we just rode it the other day, the Goffstown Rail Trail. We loved it.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
It's just beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple rough
You
sections.
know
of the
Paul
road,
is in
but-
Goffstown. So this
yeah,
is why I'm
My
picturing.
family moved to Goffstown in 1904. I
Okay.
still own land up by the school, family land.
Up on Wallace Road, that school, or up in the Spice Rack?
I don't know. It's just the big school there.
Okay.
And we're on the hill behind it where all the kids run through our property, which we let them. It's in current use. So, back to your comment on strategy though, one of the ideas I'm kicking around the back of my mind that came from a conversation we had with the CEO of Second Wind a couple of years ago is this idea, which drives Paul crazy when I use this terminology, but this idea of water systems without pipes, that people band together who are on private wells to form water systems, and that they get their water treated at a lower cost than that because they hire one contractor to cover all those families for all the water treatment needs that they have. Very sketchy idea, but what I've been thinking about is writing a proposal to the trust fund to have a business case prepared by an economist and some other people to write up a business case of whether this is viable or not. Do the analysis, analyze, what it might look like, what might the cost be, do some of that basic groundwork to say, does this idea have any legs or not? So I would think we could write a trust fund grant for less than $100,000. You could hire a 3-person team out of some firm somewhere to write a business case that either stands or does not stand, that you could then take and use it for different things. I've been thinking about doing that myself. Just write the trust fund grant proposal for a certain amount of money. And then if we get it, DES or somebody, DHHS or somebody contracts it out and we hire somebody to do it.
So now the concept would be a group of homeowners could hire one contractor to like do their testing and treatment?
Right,
or-
exactly.
Okay.
Private
Right.
wells. So
For a private well.
neighborhood.
Right.
It'd be like a cooperative.
It'd be like a cooperative.
Drinking water treatment cooperative.
That great way to put it. That's a great way to put it. So a private well, water treatment cooperative that gains the value of reduced costs because everybody's working together. And the contractor gets the value of a known quantity of homes that they are going to be buying treatment and testing for X amount of time,
Yeah,
so.
interesting.
And we could create a union. So.
Just
I don't wanna go that far.
That's what's-
Going as an independent country too recently.
New Hampshire.
I was listening to
Where that came from.
the new,
Starbucks.
to the news on the
But Paul's bigger point about as you work through these very important projects, you start thinking about what is New Hampshire's strategy for the half of population that's on private wells and gets nothing, even though they are all taxpayers. And in fact, their taxpayer dollars go to the other half of the state to support all the water systems that are there. Seems a little unfair. I'm not that concerned about the fair part. I'm more interested in the public health aspect of it because of a lot of those 700,000 people, as you're learning, aren't treating their water. And
Yeah.
their children are their children who are part of our state and a potential burden on our educational system are impacted by that.
Yeah.
So I think as you think about your strategy, I mean, I have a master's degree in strategy and national policy development. Strategy is ends, ways, means. So as you think about the end state, to me, that's the end that you're trying to get to for your strategy. The hard part is the ways and the means. But
Yeah, I mean, we could have a private well staff of 5 with how many?
always the DES employees immediately go to workload and staff considerations.
That's right. Brandon asked me, I guess when they were scoping out, early on scoping out what to do with the ARPA money. And he said, come up with an estimate for what it would cost to offer free well testing for everybody in the state and then free water treatment, for everything, including.
Man, I could answer that in
PFAS.
10 minutes. Give me a spreadsheet.
Well, yeah, I didn't, what took you 10 minutes took me a few hours, Tom.
No, it took
And the
you 4
estimate
minutes.
it was just under $1 billion.
What?
With PFAS treatment. A
Oh,
lot of people would get PFAS treatment.
It's
okay.
because you keep doing point of entry and you can't do point of entry.
Right. You got to go to point of
It has to
use.
be point of use.
Yeah, you got to go to point of use and you got to make it up in maintenance costs. So I would challenge that $1 billion. We'd arm wrestle over that. We'd have
But also
Yeah,
remember
some
that private well owners don't pay into drinking water maintenance in the state because drinking water program is funded with federal dollars. So state of New
So
Hampshire
all these state
funds,
employees are not federal taxpayers?
they're federal
That's news to me
taxpayers.
because
yeah.
I need to join.
They're
that
federal
now.
taxpayers,
Okay,
yes.
all right. So they're
But in
paying-
the state, they don't pay any.
No, but they're all federal taxpayers, every single one of them, who's has an income.
From that side, yes. but-
Okay, all right.
So I want to tell you quickly about one other project we've got going,
Oh, nice.
which is, and I mean, one of the challenges of a strategy for the state is actually quite a few programs now that are doing stuff with private wells.
Great.
I mean, there's the PFAS remediation, right? There's the drought relief, people with
Right.
wells. And then there's the environmental health program in the air division with the Apple Tree.
Oh, yeah.
Program with ASTDR,
ATSDR.
ATS.
ATSDR, okay.
And all the MTBE sampling, they're taking
Yeah.
that
Right.
season, yeah.
Right. And then there's also the environmental public health tracking program, and they're data crunchers. And so we got a CDC grant a couple years ago. And so most of, I'm the PI, but most of the work's being done by the environmental public health tracking program, which is in Health and Human Services. And what they've done is just take everything in the EMD on private well water quality data and everything that's in the public health lab database and smush it together and display it. So we have something now called the private well water quality dashboard, so that the public can go in.
And this is tied to the work that, who was the wonderful young lady who left DES, worked on the well registration program.
Abby?
Abby,
Mhm.
thank you. Has Abby's replacement been hired?
Greg Barker, you know, he was at the the New Hampshire Geological Survey. Greg Barker
he
came
stepped over
to
to-
that program. Yes.
So you could tie to that program in terms of all the new wells that are being put in
Mhm.
and the testing that should be done to those.
Should be great.
Right, could be, would be. I know you and the realtors always having a good discussion about that. So, well, that's interesting, Paul. I mean, you just gave us the whole catalog of all the people working on residential wells, private wells,
Mhm.
statewide. So pulling all that together into a statewide strategy is something I can see. I see where you're.
That would take more than 10 minutes.
Yeah, more than 10 minutes. I got to send me that spreadsheet on the $1 billion. I'm going to call Brandon. Don't
And the
accept it.
the dashboard only includes the actual test data, right? It doesn't include the probability.
Well, actually, so the dashboard has, right, it has the actual data. And so it's got easy, easy ways of visualizing it. There's maps and there's bar graphs. But then also there's the USGS arsenic probability, mapping data is in there. And then there's the two different estimates, I think, of two different estimates of, population served by private wells. They're both from USGS, but,
And now we're going to be able to put the environmental justice layer on top of all this because that's what they're using to identify disadvantage.
well, and yet another project, the USGS SES, the socioeconomic status, right? So they got some USGS money, 220,000, and then we kicked in 40,000, and they're going to be looking at private well users. They're basically investigating whether folks with lower socioeconomic status are more likely to have private wells with contaminants, or at least be drinking untreated water, maybe from wells,
Yeah,
and also yield issues as well.
yeah.
And they're doing that on a census group level and also on an individual parcel basis.
Interesting.
By looking at,
All right.
yeah, I mean, the idea, so,
That's
obviously
interesting.
from the census, you've got all kinds of demographic and economic data, but on the parcel level, they're looking at assessed value of a home as a proxy, for socioeconomic status.
Okay, well, we're going to have to pause you there, Amy, because we do need about 10 minutes to cover all the other projects that we're working on, of which we have about 15 or so. We really appreciate what you're doing. We appreciate you coming by tonight.
All this good stuff.
Yeah, we really appreciate what you're working on, and we really would like to see you again, maybe in about a year or so.
Okay.
But between now and then, where I was headed with that comment was, if there's something we can help you with from the committee, or if there's something that you think applies uniquely to Bo, give me a yell. Give Cindy and I and Chris a yell and tell us what you're thinking, and we'd be happy
Yeah,
to
I'd be
partner
interested to
with you on
see
that.
if you end up pulling in Dunbarton, how that ends up working out and, because there are also, I didn't get a chance to say, I'm going to be doing some community well testing events in Charleston, Unity, and Greenfield in the next month too.
Oh,
So it's good to find, like, I think Unity and Charleston are actually banding together for this one because Unity doesn't have a place they don't have a town hall. So they're going to go to Charlestown Library and they're going to invite the Charlestown residents. So just combining towns is one way to reach more, more people in one event type of thing, rather than just one town at a time. So if that partnering with Dunbarton and Goffstown,
Works.
tell me how that works.
I have to find somebody in Dunbarton. I haven't found anybody yet, but I tried to reach out and just haven't. been
yeah, we
able
got to find the
somebody.
Dunbarton Cindy.
Yeah, or Tom,
Or
right?
Tom, yeah.
But,
We gotta find that in every town.
Right, yeah.
but what do you think about Goffstown? I mean, that might be a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had dealings with town government. So I was joking. The only thing I've gotten involved with was the rail trail group. So
Because, did
And
you
they've
tell
been great
Tom
work.
your news, what you're doing the end of the
Oh,
year
yeah,
or no?
I heard.
oh, you did. Okay, yeah.
Well, you told me.
All right. Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
So I won't be back at the next meeting. But
Oh, maybe not.
it depends on when you come.
Well, you
come
will
back.
because you'll be invited as the golf.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Get after it.
Committee members sitting at this table. Yeah.
But the rule is nothing at all for 2 months after.
Yes,
Which is great.
Absolutely nothing.
That's a
All
great, that's a great rule. Are they gonna have a little thing for you of some kind? You probably said no, in which case I would tell you, who cares?
I don't know.
Okay.
Nobody's talked to me about it.
No, we don't
but
care.
No
We don't
collections.
Do anything.
No collections.
There you
Got that no collection.
We're just gonna give you point of use filters and picture filters. Here you go, a little basket of.
An assignment to bring in the Goffstown,
But I mean,
conservation.
The thing is, you
Commission.
folks have done so many community testing events. It'd probably be good
Oh,
to-
Cindy.
You guys are the pros.
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
could-
Well,
Because Cindy's
Yeah.
brain about.
Yeah.
How many years have you been doing that?
absolutely.
what, 10 years?
10 years?
Yeah.
So that's roughly 50. So that's 500.
But,
That's
but
a
we have not been able to get that many people. The people who were actually cracked the code here is the high school. Because they did
Yes.
that all about arsenic thing
Hmm.
with Dartmouth and the,
Dibble.
yeah,
Mount Desert Island.
Mount
Yeah,
Desert
yeah.
Island.
Yeah, I was just gonna, I actually had them on my list to mention too, because the
Yeah.
Pelham High School teachers invited me to come be part of their event. So
Oh,
I'd like to,
Yeah. Yeah.
but Paul's point is right. I mean, if you stretch yourself thin across 200 and whatever, 50 towns in New Hampshire participating in individual events like that, you're not going to be able to pull a larger strategy together for the.
well, that's what I've been
Right.
mulling over since I started. I'm like, how do we do this for the whole state?
Right.
So I'm just trying to come up, we're all trying to come up with a strategy that kind of covers us all,
Right.
so.
Okay, well, now that you've challenged me, I'll also try to get, if I
Yeah.
have ideas, I'll give you a call.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
But these teachers are pulling in over 100 samples.
right.
You know.
And to me, when we go to the
class.
high schools, we're reaching, the future parents.
Right.
So
It is very
Before-
effective.
before they're pregnant and have 15,000 things on their mind,
Yeah. Definitely, yeah.
even earlier than that.
And they're doers. You give them a bottle, they will come back with it filled. They're not gonna forget it.
if there's a
They're
grade
just-
attached to it, right?
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
There's a grade attached.
No,
things,
they're interested. I think
yeah.
they are
Oh, they
really
are.
saying,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
you give me a bottle, I'm gonna bring it back.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again.
This is what's in the bottle.
All right,
If I-
Cindy, you are up
Thank you.
first.
Thank you very much for coming out, you guys.
And
Good to see you, Tom.
thank you again for coming. We will talk to you again. I look forward to it. All right, Cindy, Miss Mitchell.
So, yeah, I have not done anything the whole month, so.
Okay, no
Oh
problem.
my God.
I know that's a longer term one.
And source water protection.
So
plan.
next, what we'd like to do
Okay.
is so that, I haven't touched the source water protection plan in a long time. Chris is not familiar with it. Jordan is not. So next month, or maybe the month
What
after.
do we have? So our source water, so there's two things that always get confused. So we had our 11-point thing.
Yeah, what is that called?
We've had different names for it, but it's a table that we put on the website finally, so it doesn't get lost, and said, this is our charter.
I
sort of
remember.
Idea. So that one we try to update once a year and say, did we do what we're gonna
Right.
do or this?
Okay, so don't get too
so
much into
that's-
this right now, but that's what I need you to talk with Jordan here
Okay.
and Chris and walk us all and have the handout so we can all get back into that.
Okay, or we can look
Okay.
at it on the screen because it's right on the
Beautiful,
website.
perfect, yeah.
There's another one called the source the municipal wells WAPA implementation plan that Dick Crable was very diligent about updating. And now since we don't have Dick, we haven't done it for a while, but that's where we were asking for the BMP results
yes,
because
okay.
that has an appendix that says, oh, you've done the inspections, people are
Okay.
trained.
So again, Chris and Jordan and I need
So
to,
that
we need you to
one-
walk us through that so that we
Yeah, I almost
understand.
have to reach out to Dick again to figure out
To find it. Okay.
what do we
All
need to do and how do we update that? Because
that's
he set
what
it up
this-
so it'll
Write
be
'em over
easy.
Zoom.
Yeah,
Oh, that's a good
Actually,
idea.
he's
Once you
coming-
figure out the Zoom,
yeah.
when
Yeah.
I'm gone,
Yes.
then you can probably invite them.
How do we figure out the Zoom? How are we gonna do
Probably
this?
take some time. You just have to, once they hire someone, I'm sure there'll be, a
Trained.
person who will be doing the same thing, but in the meantime, we'll just have to persevere.
Yeah, I think what we'll do is we'll just use our personal Zoom and we'll just do our own thing.
Yeah, you can always bring it in. The only thing is you're on a public Wi-Fi, so that can be a little slow. Even though I know we have a booster up here somewhere, so it should be a little better.
Because we don't have to broadcast it out public remote anymore. This is just a convenience.
We don't have to now. It's just a courtesy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so at least that will get
Well, it
us,
allows Steve to participate, which is good. Yeah.
yeah, but we can do that with our own Zoom thing.
As long as you have a quorum.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, all right.
So that's what the two.
Which we're, the three of us are pretty much committed to, I think, to at least have a quorum, make sure.
This is now.
And then Jordan and Malu are our backup, you know, if we can't, if one of us can't make it. But I'm sorry that it took me a while to answer the email. I wasn't checking and thinking, you know, are you coming? Yes.
That's all
So
right.
assume I'm
You
coming
jumped on the
unless,
email this afternoon to tell them where physically they were coming, so that was.
unless, but yeah, and really for this, it should be my personal email, not my work email. So,
Oh, good point.
but yeah.
Yeah.
but yeah, I didn't see that, but assume that I'm coming unless otherwise.
Okay, then the third bullet for you, the bullets got doubled there, but
Yeah, it is.
was a quick update on the email. Any emails come into the?
No,
No.
no, I haven't
Okay.
had any, well, your both times came through.
Put
But
in
you
terms of they
answered that.
published the email.
Yeah,
out,
yeah, so that was the only one that came through on,
Okay.
and I'll show you the account. I haven't changed the,
Okay, well, let's not get tied into that right now because we get Chris and Alvina on their way, but,
okay,
okay, so as long as you're monitoring the account.
yeah, it's on my
Great.
phone.
Okay, all right, my items. Steve, when's your next session with Dave Stack?
Friday.
Friday, what time?
You had to ask, didn't you? I gotta get my
Oh, sorry.
calendar up. It's either 10 or 11. I lost your email address. Alvina gave it to me tonight, so I'll forward you an invite to that meeting.
I didn't catch that last part, but I think you said you sent me an email with the actual time.
Close. I said that I lost your email address and that Alvina gave me your address tonight, so I'll forward the meeting time to you.
Okay, you will do. Okay, great. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. All right. Okay, for the Drinking Water Week, Cindy, I got the library display space is reserved and the meeting room is reserved for you for Wednesday night to do the open house.
And that's April,
No,
No, it's
that's
May what again?
May,
1/7?
yeah, so the Wednesday is the 4th. So I think I reserved it for the 4th. I'll send you a copy of the reservation email so that you have it.
Yeah,
Okay,
I need
great.
to put that on,
Yeah,
because I'm leaving the 12th and I'm not
Right.
coming back.
yes, you are. You're coming.
Columbia?
Yes.
Are you going to Columbia? Yeah.
I'm going to Columbia and I'm going to the Amazon this time.
Oh,
Okay.
Arizona?
So, yeah.
The other piece that came into place very nicely was you and I co-authored those announcements to go to the boat times.
Yeah.
And Nadine.
Yeah.
Nadine?
Nadine or something.
Nadine. Got that. In fact, can you call it up, Alvina, that email where she actually sent us a mock-up of what it'll look like in the paper.
So my commitment is Wednesday, May 4th, Baker Library. What are we doing? Is it 5 to 7? I think. we
Open
said?
house for
Open
anyone
house.
who's got water testing results or water issues that they want to talk about.
5 to 7.
I think was it 7:30, 6:30? I don't
Yeah,
remember.
you
what
had
we-
me till 9 PM.
I had the room till 9.
Okay.
No, I did not have you.
It's like,
till
no,
9.
It's like, oh my God, 4 hours.
I had the room. I wanted to make
Have
sure that nobody,
mercy,
I wanted to
please.
make sure nobody was behind you, pushing
Okay.
you out. That's what
Okay,
my goal
okay.
was.
All right, all
All
right.
right. No, I knew you wouldn't be out there till 9. Okay, I haven't done anything on number 3, so I will eventually, when I get a minute. I drafted the email to go to the town manager about our Linex firm, wrote it all up, ready to go. And then Steve just told me a few minutes ago that they allowed the BMP inspection to occur,
Oh, that's great,
which is
Steve.
great, Steve. And a nice job.
How did that happen?
Nice job.
I don't know what the catalyst was, but he did respond, filled out all the details on what he had in the place. I just need to go. I was doing a water line installation inspection over at the new Accurate Tree site. So when they opened, I popped in there, and the owner Ken was right there, and he was cordial and walked around with me, answered any questions I had.
Wow.
And yeah, it was great.
He must have heard we were coming for him. He was like, oh, no, I don't want those guys.
Did
Right,
he
yeah.
explain what was the issue? I mean, next year, so we know what,
So I told him we'd be back in 3 years, which is, I think, how often you have to do it.
okay.
And then,
Oh, 3 years. Oh,
I believe it's every 3 years. He said that when things like that come to his desk, he throws them out thinking that they're salespeople trying to sell him something. So
oh, okay.
Yeah,
just-
but you were very clear that it wasn't trying to
Yeah.
sell them.
All right, well, that's his story and he's sticking to it.
yeah, I told him the only thing we sell him is water.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, there you go.
okay. So that took care of that. That was well worth a couple pieces of paper. And then I already talked about the boat times. They're going to advertise for us on both the events, the May open house and the June water testing event. Okay, Steve, over to you.
So we already covered the BMP inspection, so I'll have to finalize. I got a rough draft. My pen was kind of crapping out on me when I did the inspection today, so I got to rewrite it. But I have all the information we need, and then the next step is to apply for the waiver for testing on SOC, I believe.
Okay,
Yeah,
So
good.
that'd be the next step. I did send you an invite to the meeting. It's at 11 o'clock on Friday.
great. Thank you.
So, and then other than that, I think Ms. Vachon has forwarded you the DES letter of discrepancy. Did she do
A
that?
letter of deficiency for arsenic?
Deficiency, yeah, for arsenic for the Bow Recreation Center. That is still not resolved. So we partnered with Second Wind to get us a quote on treatment changes over there. I have a vague quote on what they would do for changing that system, but nothing solid that I could call a plan. And things are changing with those small systems as we speak. So I don't know who's going to be doing what in the future on that.
Yeah, Steve, just forward it to me, to any email you have for me, because we're pretty, accommodating on what we call plans for DES approval for treatment changes. I had a couple exchanges today with Second Wind about the Bow Rec Center, because I asked what's going on at Bow Rec Center, what on the treatment. He said he's still tweaking the iron feed. I think, he thinks he's not getting enough iron. I asked what the pH was. He said it's pH is 7.6, which is too high because you really need it to be below 7.5 in order for that to work. So, but the ferric is an acid, so, a little additional feed might address that, but he said the chemical feed pump is already at its max.
Right.
That he was gonna try just mixing the tank to see if it worked and to take another sample. So he's just been playing with it, I guess.
Is that Steve you talked to?
That's
or-
Steve Gersha, yeah, at Second Wind.
Yeah, so I had never seen one of these systems before in my, lifetime, and he explained to me how it works and what we should try. And we tried. We doubled the chlorine and the ferric feed, and we got 0 additional removal for the arsenic. So
Yeah, well, Steve, I'm the one that does the reviews and have been doing arsenic for quite a while, so just talk to me and we can try to troubleshoot these things.
okay,
Happy to help.
all right. Thank you. I appreciate that.
But yeah, if you've given up on the iron arsenic, the reason I like iron arsenic, and it's what we always recommend as a first option, is because the operating costs are much lower. Because you're precipitating, filtering, and backwashing. Whereas with the adsorptive media, you're buying the filter every couple of years. Today, Second Wind says that the estimate is 5 years. I don't believe it, because, you end up exhausting that media fairly quickly. And they probably don't have or maybe we do at the rec center have a separate irrigation center, line. Okay, good, because that should not go through the treatment. In fact, they should, if it's possible, now that it's town owned, maybe they could have dedicated piping just for the arsenic, for the drinking water, and let the toilet water, not be treated. I mean, we could do different things like that to reduce operating costs.
So he's adjusted his estimated life expectancy for the vessels to be 5 years instead of 10 now.
He told me 5 years for the absorptive media.
Oh, he put 10 in the email when he was doing.
Oh,
it.
it's definitely not 10, and I doubt that it was 5.
Really?
Because you know, you're loading all this water through and it's, you know, just doesn't have the capacity. Because it's not really the arsenic load, it's the pH and other stuff like silica that chews up the media
So
capacity.
they can put a pre-filter on it though to take that out, right?
No, you can't filter silica out, no.
Oh, really?
That's just gonna
Okay.
load onto the
Mhm.
media, so no. I
Okay,
mean, we could reduce pH, but then we're right back to our ferric process, which is reducing pH and adding ferric.
Right.
So no, it's,
What are they're
Okay.
drinking bottled water now, right?
there's been complaints from the parents, and I have fielded a couple complaints from both parents. Their kids are drinking arsenic, but I don't know that they're not required to hand out bottled
I
water.
thought they had, I mean, when they were here, I mean, I only know because we looked to send my son there
Mm.
and they had a bubbler and they were getting they were
Yeah,
getting.
I think in this building, they insist on doing bottled water, even though the water is fine, and that's something for taxpayers to complain about. But, but,
Is it legal? I mean, this is
Yeah.
a dumb question maybe, but what if you had one tap that it was a POU?
yeah,
And you filled water bottles and you know what I mean? The maintenance guy did that, did 5
Yeah.
water bottles every 2 days and
it's legal as long as there's enough POU. So that is a third option for the Bow Rec Center because, or for any daycare, is set up 3 point of uses in the, in the infant room, in the toddler room, in the, whatever. And if we have enough
mean,
point
but-
of uses, then you can go absorptive media because you're able to change those at a regular basis. We're not treating all the extra water.
Mhm.
So we could do that for Bow Rec Center. We could do point of use also as an alternative.
plenty of opportunities to get some footage.
Yeah, really.
Educational video on point of
Yeah.
view. You get any parent that goes in that can see, you
Yeah.
put a glass door on the cabinet where it is underneath. And
Do
there it is.
this at home.
Do this at
Yeah.
home because you might have arsenic,
Website.
right?
Probably have arsenic. You have a
I mean, it's
56%.
That's a great idea.
not a bad idea.
Yeah. no, that's-
Plexiglass fronted cabinet
Plexiglass, you can see what it is and you
with a lock.
with a lock for the kids.
Sure.
And
yeah.
then, here's the price list and here's where you get it. It's $178. It's not gonna and get your water tested down at the lab for $15. Like, it's not
Yeah.
a burden,
Right.
Exactly.
It's simple, it's
It
easy.
doesn't even have to be a cold sample. It can be any temperature, yeah, for arsenic.
Yeah.
So,
For arsenic, just.
well, that leads very nice. Steve, was that good for you? Anything else?
No, that's good. Thank you.
Yep. And I saw you sent another data download of chlorine, pH and conductivity.
Right. So that's got her weekly samples on one tab, and it's got the lab results for everything monthly on the other tab.
Okay, so that looks, yeah, there you go, Cindy. That was
Thank you. Oh, that's
Yeah.
great. So we need and we have the spreadsheet so we can graph this.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Conductivity TDS, perfect. And you're continuing to do this, Steve?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. That's awesome. This is what we needed. So that we can have an annual
right.
curve, and then we can cross calibrate this with the actual lab results.
Speaking of which, I don't know if everybody caught in the Bow Times that the estimate for hooking up the clean potable water extension to the existing municipal section is now up to $13.3 million.
That's the Hooksett one or the
That's-
north one?
No, this is the north one.
Which, yeah, I was disappointed that Bow Times would put that in to say that we are, this is a good thing that we're going to bring municipal water up.
He did not comment on the validity of it in any way. He just stated the facts. There's nothing in there that says that's a good thing or not.
Yeah,
That is just the
because
facts.
that's not a good project for.
Yeah, we all know
taxpayer money
that,
At
but-
all.
But if we do end up doing it, the importance of keeping that water from being contaminated with chlorides goes up several orders of magnitude.
Not only that, to
Yeah.
keeping it non-stagnant, because there's 10 miles? What's that? 8
Yeah.
miles?
I think it was
Maybe
6
not,
miles,
maybe
yeah.
6
I think it was
miles
6 miles, yeah.
up to Bow Junction, where there
Right.
would be a new storage tank, which is going to be another problem.
Right. Yeah, great.
But really,
point.
the problem because our current storage tank is a big issue. We're still wasting water, right? Steve,
Well, off, you mean, in the summer?
in the summer, not in the winter?
Now we blew off down off of by Matt Brown's for not even a month this summer. So that's the only wasted water I'm aware of.
And it's because of the water quality in the warm months, so
Correct.
July, August, September, or?
Yeah, I could get dates on when that was opened up, but we had chlorine residual issues out at Vaughn Road in 3A.
Okay.
Hmm.
So getting that
Okay.
moving.
So sorry, Chris, back to you. So I had a chance to look through your slides. The only part I couldn't tell was I didn't see, or maybe I missed it, was a time, how much each topic, how much time you anticipated.
I
So we
didn't,
know roughly how long the
yeah,
video.
I don't know is the answer.
Okay, so maybe you can just do it by hand, just say, well, maybe this will be 3 minutes, this will be 5, this will be 6. And I think we need to keep it under.
Absolutely. I watch a lot of YouTube
Me
videos.
too, yeah, especially on Ukraine.
And how to do things. Today was, my car's burning oil, and in 3 minutes, it has to be under 6 minutes. It has to be, there's no extracurricular talking. The audio has to be good. The video has to be good.
Right.
My
Yes.
beautiful and brilliant wife who's working on I'm putting in a plug for the Bow Energy Efficiency Committee is also doing a video. So we're trying to cobble together the right equipment. I have microphones. I don't have the right video camera, I think.
That's
So I need
awesome.
to find
Apple i13.
somebody with with a nice iPhone. I'm not in the market to buy a phone right now.
Well, by the time we're ready to shoot this, I might, I've heard rumors that I might be getting one for my birthday, so.
That'd be great. Perfect.
I have been very, very good boy, so.
But I know.
Yeah,
So we're working on that aspect of it too. So I can do that, and I will try my best to, if we like the outline, that was just an outline. When I've done these in the past, I've done database videos. I always write a script,
yes,
and
outlines the script.
it's requirement for our work. It's a requirement for ADA, Americans with Disability Act, to have a script. And I think it's it's a good rule. We may want
Yeah.
to put that out. So we'll have a script, and that's simple enough. I can talk to the phone and it'll do the typing for me. So we'll hopefully get that in the next month or so.
That's
Okay, I do not have word yet on whether we're gonna get the $200 yet, because I sent a follow-up note to Matt and he didn't ask because he's on vacation.
Yeah.
So I will check with Matt next week or later this week.
And that's.
Like I said
such a
before, if we
small
get
change,
if we
yeah.
get the $200 from the town, great. If we not, I will provide the $178.
I've
The
got,
town is gonna ask me, what are we gonna do with the materials after we're done with the
We can
video?
raffle them off and invite,
install it at the rec center.
invite people that want to come and test their well, and we'll raffle.
At the well testing
At
event.
the well
That's a great
testing.
answer.
So-
That's a great answer.
I have all of the stuff to do it in a dummy setup. Like I removed an RO system, which has
The
it's got two cartridges.
It looks like an
It
actual,
looked like we were installing it, like.
so you're saying we could do it for zero cost? Because I mean, I'll,
For zero cost, because I've got
Cancel
the
the-
stuff.
okay, I'll
Again,
cancel.
if you bought 3 though, put it at the rec center, raffle, like you said, raffle it up. But I could, and I've got the tab that.
But I don't want to use.
Okay, yeah.
I don't want to use $200 of town money if we don't need it. I
Yeah, yeah.
want to be known for people who use money for things we need.
Yeah, no.
Okay, so I'll talk to,
It's not brand new. That's
Right.
kind of the weird thing.
Yeah, but that's all right. I mean,
Right,
because
I
really
might-
it's gonna, yeah.
Might be.
So
one or
do you
two.
have a refillable cartridge inside?
Don't have a refillable.
Yeah, we'd have to buy
I
that.
I have one that I had bought, and we could say, 2 is not a bad idea. You're gonna get some initial filtration. You could do 1,
Yeah,
like a 5.
yeah, definitely the 2. I like
a
that.
Free, and then I have an arsenic that I had bought and I never used in the small canister. And
Okay.
then I bought the big blue thing.
Okay, yeah.
So I have a,
okay.
And I
When
like
do you
the one
wanna-
that you
When
buy
do you
the
want to start
cartridge.
filming?
let me get the
Get the script.
the script, the mic and a camera.
Okay, but what time frame roughly do you think you'd like to film?
I think, May or June.
May or
The
June?
next 2 months. we
Let's
could
say June,
probably
because I want to review. and
Yeah, we all want to be part of
participate,
it.
Yeah.
Right, I mean, I've
So,
got,
and I'm not gonna be away in May.
I've done my neighbors, I put in systems for my neighbors, so I've got a bucket of parts around.
That's
Okay.
great.
All right, June
This is
is
gonna be a-
production month,
It'll be sunny.
as they say in Hollywood.
Yeah.
It'll be prettier if we see greenery behind us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
gonna
nice,
be-
nice.
This is a great.
Okay,
great
how are we
project.
doing on the product for the
The display is
Water Week.
beautiful.
A display for Water Week.
It's amazing.
Jordan?
Yeah, I just need to print it and I've been sick out of the office.
Okay, before you print it, do you want to send it to Cindy and I just to prove it
Yes,
real quick?
absolutely.
Okay, yeah, if you could send it to us.
Yeah, I just saw your reply. This is great. Thank you.
She's,
Oh, I didn't even see that.
she got hurt. What's happening?
Really?
Yeah,
No, I
She
don't-
said that she.
Yeah, we're not gonna talk about it on the open public.
Oh, all right.
Okay, so they're ready for final review.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, send it around. That's great. And then once you print it, if you give it to me, I'll get it mounted and I'll take it down to the library. And I'll put it up with the faucet in front before Drinking Water Week, because they
Okay,
reserved for 2 weeks. They gave us a week before
Wow.
and the week of.
awesome.
Yeah, okay, great.
when is that?
That is the last week of this month, last week of April.
Okay.
And the first week of May.
And the first week of May is the actual water week. Okay, Jordan was gonna bring us a copy of the violation letter, but we'll get that a little bit later. Alvina,
I can tell you what it says. It says you've had 2 MCL violations. You need to tell the state what you're gonna do. So it's first step, hire a consultant. You don't have to hire a consultant. You could identify just the drinking water committee is gonna assist us. For example, it can be, you don't have to hire somebody else. And second step is what is the schedule for resolution? And you could say, here is my treatment submittal. And that's it. That is the schedule. I'm ready. Here is my proposal. And then put it back to the state, because then what the state has to do is review the treatment proposal, provide comments, and give you a schedule to install.
okay.
And usually what I do is give maybe 60
Do you have
days.
the letter, the actual letter?
They're all the same.
Well, but I,
But yeah.
the one that we were, yeah, I would like to
Yeah.
see it before the Friday meeting with the town manager if I could, just so I can say I saw.
We
the
can
actual
send it to you, yeah.
Okay, great.
I
Thank you.
don't, we used to have them on the website. I think we stopped doing that, but we can get you a
Okay,
copy
I
tonight.
would appreciate
Yeah,
that.
but it just,
Okay.
it says, you're in violation. This is, these are your numbers. Please respond. By 30 days, who's gonna help you? 60 days, give us a plan.
Yeah.
And then do whatever schedule the
Nice.
state approves.
Okay, real quick then for Alvina, you were gonna do Parks and Rec for the parking lot and the sign out in front of the.
Yes, and I did.
And you
email
did, and I saw the email on that.
And that's June 11th.
She did pencil us for 11th and 12th, but she says that she suggested we use the electronic sign for which we need to contact the
The
police.
police,
And
yeah.
I gave all the emails.
So do you want to do that? You want me to do that?
You can do that. if you
Okay,
don't
so-
mind,
All right, so I'll contact the police. That's in
It's
the,
the police, and she said also maybe contact,
it's in the email?
yes, yeah, both their emails is in the emails from,
Okay, I'll take care of it
March
for you,
9th.
Cindy. I'll take
Because
care of it.
it's just, yeah, it's to ask them, and then it's not just one email, it's a lot of coordination, and then the date, and then.
I'll take care of it.
And the fire department guys love you, Tom, so
They
because.
do?
Yeah,
Wow.
from before, when you were on the committee before, remember we had a meeting with
Oh,
them
yeah.
and. Yes.
Oh, the chief was great to work with.
the
Yeah.
chief, we have
Yeah.
a new chief.
We have a new chief now,
Well,
I
we
know.
have
yeah.
Tom, is it Tom Ferguson or who's?
No, it's Elliot Berman.
Yeah.
Tom Ferguson is the deputy fire chief. He does the.
Okay, I think that's who we
safety
spoke to
inspections and
before.
health
Okay.
officer, yeah.
And I
I'll
talked
work
to
on
him
it.
briefly the other day about the Bow Rec Center. So he's still there, and I think he's probably the best contact for the water stuff.
Okay, I'll take
But
care of it
he'd-
for you.
He'd love to,
But
Yeah.
she said
Reestablish
we need to
contact.
contact the police for the sign.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I think, that's all one building now, the fire and the police, right?
Yes.
The safety
yes.
center, so I think, just getting in the door
I'll
then,
figure it out. I'll go walk up
Again,
and see him. I need to
they're
go
gonna-
by and see
yeah,
him
they're
anyway,
gonna
just
love
say
you.
hi.
so.
So, okay, I think that concludes our official business. Bang, bang the gavel.
So no, this is really exciting with the cartridge. with the
This
video. That
is a
gonna be
cool thing,
so
Chris, no
good.
question about it. Thank you very much, Steve. We really appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you. We'll see you Friday.
I'll see you Friday. Great. Thanks for that invite. I really appreciate that.
No problem.
All right.
Take
The
care.
Energy Efficiency Committee would also like to investigate energy efficiency measures at the water systems.
All right, yes, we,
I mean, audits.
That's a big
At some
topic.
point, audits, like.
Yeah.
The audits.
Save some money.
she was on NPR this morning, like, I
That was when she was on NPR. She was on NHP.
know.
I tell you, that, were you on the hiring committee to hire Amy onto this?
Actually, they took them from,
She's been in.
she was, I
She
had,
came from wetlands to you?
so actually, no, so we had Amy first in source water.
What's that?
Oh, we adjourned?
Yeah, we're,